Welcome to episode 9, Simple. And here's what we're going to talk about because I'm YouFoundBryan. It's going to be basically if you're starting an animation, if you want to be noticed by companies, if you want to be absorbed into like Netflix, Hulu, anything that produces something, if you want to get a little manpower behind your cartoon, what's the most important thing in my brain? And just from my general research and looking up things, one of the hardest things to do is to, well, sell yourself, okay, and your cartoon at the same time. So you want to be able to sell yourself and your cartoon. And what are the two things that you do if you wanted to like work in animation or have a story be told? Now, you don't have to be an animator to make a story, but what you do need is if you're trying to sell your story, you need a show Bible, basically, which is just like a really good sum of what the characters are, the story, the plot of the show, and then you give them like episode examples. Whatever you can put into the show Bible seems like it's pretty good as long as it's not overcrowded with too much knowledge and is loose enough for you to work on anything you do as a cartoon. Because, they might want to change things. Um, you know, when they were making SpongeBob, there were definitely not. I think it was like he was like Sponge Boy or something like that. But it's just basically he. You have to be loose enough to change things if need be, with a TV company or a streaming service if it's being funded by someone because people will have input. But if it's really something that you want done yourself, then you have to go down like the YouTube route, which you don't need a show Bible for. You can still make one for fun. That could be for yourself. Um, but uh, to sell yourself as an animator, you'd need to have what they call a demo reel. And then I haven't really figured out what you do with the demo reel because I'm not trying to get hired as an animator, but I still want to make one for my own purposes of like, look at all the animation I've done. Like you can look at the things I have and cool things that get posted and I made all of this myself, that kind of stuff. Like you want to be able to be like, look at this smooth, I don't know, pencil only animation. I can do that. I did that myself. Now, does it mean you did it the right way? No. Most companies I think just want to see that you can animate. I don't I think they have. I don't know if when you go to Disney if they're like you must animate our way or you just have to animate any way that gets it done. You know what I mean? Like I don't know the standard when you are at a company. Like if Netflix is like we only do 2D animation with small bone rigging. Forget your hand drawn. That's too costly. And then you're like, I'll do it for free. And then they're like, well, we will allow it. We will allow it if you take no money whatsoever. Whatever whatever happens, thank you for your service. Um, there's there's a animation reels and show bibles. I think are pretty close because they show something to the company or whoever you're trying to get hired to or share your work with. Um, I think, in my opinion, because I'm not really going down the Netflix, Hulu route with my show, like I'm doing it myself so that I can like produce something on my own terms. Is that I want to make a demo reel to show the world, I guess. Like I want to be like, here, this is what I do. Look at it. It's nice, Not just posting like YouTube videos with the episodes and things like that. I think people will be like, wow, that's okay. Like I like it. Good. They come back. But a demo reel kind of like is also like a good advertisement for other things. Like if you've animated stuff on other people's pages. The pure difference between a storyboard and getting involved in like, and I think there are demo reels with storyboards in it. But storyboards are like obviously animated a little less than normal animation because you want to do it quickly but tell the story. You get show Bibles where there's no animation. It's just like a I don't know if you hand it to them in paper format, honestly, at this point in life. Like, is it digital? Is it a PDF? Do they look at it and they're like, okay, that's it, good, thanks. Um, you need them though, because they need to be able to like look at it without the show going. Sometimes you get situations where people animate small clips for the purpose of the show. I don't know if that's physically the case anymore. Like I've seen clips of like when Jim Henson was promoting his show to CBS, like he wanted the Muppet Show, and they have they have like a small like Muppet guy telling everyone what the Muppet Show is and how crazy it's going to be, and they're talking about things that probably might not be on the show. Maybe they will be, but he's just putting all of the energy of the show into that clip. And that's kind of what you do for both of these things, but in one set it's more personal to you, like, okay, this is what I can do, and then the other one is like, look at what the show is. You know, this is the personality of the show. My suggestion when making a show Bible, even though that I really haven't made a show Bible. Oh, actually, I take that back. I do. I have accidentally built a show Bible. But my first recommendation is really stick to the specifics. And if you're doing a show Bible for yourself, really a show Bible can be as big as you want it to be because obviously you're not showing it to anyone. But like the entire workings of it's basically like a textbook of your show. So like for me, each episode kind of has its own show Bible. Um, and then I write, and then I do um, storyboarding, and then I do the actual like storyboard animation. So like I kind of just like draw little individual story images. Like this is what I'm have in my head. This is what I want you to see. And then from there I go and I do like the process of animation. Now that is way more than you ever have to do probably for a show Bible, but you know, like you want some background art, you want to make sure you show them different things that are appropriate to your cartoon so that they get the visual feel and uh, tone of your show, which is where I think the let's just say test animation is really where you get it. You get like a good feeling. Even Gravity Falls, you can look it up, had like an early pre-pilot animation, which a lot of it made it into the actual first episode. So they got the dose of Gravity Falls without it being Gravity Falls right away or animated the way it was actually drawn slightly different. So it's always interesting to see the difference from the pre-pilot like test animations to the standard like what you see on television. It's really nice to like see that there's a obvious process to like nitpicking things and sometimes it turns out really well. Now, if you're just like a storyboard artist, I believe you can do just storyboard things, but you definitely have to make sure you label each thing in your reel. You know, like if you're like doing a reel for storyboards, you should definitely label it. Um, I always see when I look at storyboards or little animatics, they put like what project it was and what year, and then like just so you know, because sometimes storyboards look the same because they're all black and white. Sometimes they're colored, sometimes they're 3D, you know, like it depends on what medium you're working in, but it definitely helps if you label everything in the bottom left or right corner or upper right. Like you can do it whatever way you want. Top title, pop down. You can get fancy with it. Whatever really puts your, I guess, work into the center eye of whoever you're showing it to. Now, a lot of this stuff has been kind of like, what's my journey? You know, like I'm trying to help you drive forward the same way or skip some steps that were unnecessary for me. So in this case, I can tell you that it's kind of unnecessary to just have a show Bible if you you don't need a show Bible if you're just doing YouTube. You don't need a reel if you're on YouTube. Like YouTube, you have to find your audience, and I think that's where it kind of becomes more important to focus on like slightly regular posts, you know, putting up good content. You don't have to upload constantly. Sorry, I was going to say consistently. You don't have to upload constantly, but you can take time to really like show who you are in the same way that you would with show Bibles and show reels. So it's okay to take the time to really like, okay, I want to show people that I can make silent films or black and white storyboarding, or as long as you're having fun with the project, I think that's what's important when you're doing YouTube. But whether you are only a YouTuber or you want to start an animation company or you want to go work in a bigger company because they pay regularly or give you like a salary, like whatever your goal is, I think part of it is knowing where you're going to end up, whether it be with your cartoon yourself or, have a general idea. And a lot of what I did was start an idea with a cartoon, and I had no true direction for it. Like to make it with a company was like the big idea, but I just kept saying it. So, like, I didn't know what that took, and I just kept saying that's what I wanted to do. Like, I was just like, that's what I'm going to do. Obviously, from what I'm saying to you right now, just being on YouTube, doing it myself is a complete drastic 180. But that's okay because that means the idea evolved, just like the show Bible could evolve or the reels over time can get better. Like, you're really just nitpicking you're kind of weeding the garden. All right. So just, you got to make sure that when you take your time to do these things, that you look around. Okay. You take your stuff and you take it seriously enough that you can say like, this doesn't need to be here. You don't need to hold on to everything. You don't need to have one set direction. Next year, if an opportunity came to me and it was a really good opportunity and I still had full control, I still own my characters, and Disney was like, hey, we want to make your show. You can still keep it on YouTube, or we want to make your show and we'll put it on Disney Plus, but you own the rights to your show. Like, it's not a Disney show, it's a Red Squid Productions show. Then go. Yeah, sure. If you're going to help me animate it and it's, you know, even if it's the first one and it's like, we'll make the residual, like, because it's Disney Plus, like, we'll make the money, we get the content, but you get to make your show and like establish something, establish characters. I'd be more than willing to like work with a show, uh, streaming service or something like that. Like, the idea is really that I just want to keep my ownership of the things that I'm making. And working with others would be a lot more helpful if I had the manpower. But being that I'm just a single person starting out, sometimes it just comes down to like, do you have money? So I try to listen to my inner Simon Squibb, like I said in the previous episodes. Don't worry about the money and just show people what you got. Like, it's just kind of like, I can do this. Let's just breathe for a minute and keep it simple.